Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the number one source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter. Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Welcome to Goldilocks Global Banking News. I am your host. Folks, in the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room today, more and more members announcing they have solidified their relationships with their bankers, their wealth managers, brokerage accounts set up. We even had a member, CVC, whom you've all probably heard from almost 2 weeks ago, even shared the update that her and her hubby had a event that they were invited to by their wealth management firm, and even introduced to 20 plus millionaires. Yes, 20 plus millionaires they were introduced to that are already clients of the wealth management firm. They are in the club. These are high net worth clients that they were introduced to by their wealth management firm at an invite only event. We are so proud of all of our members who are taking the 8 steps that we share. It is great honor for Goldilocks, Wiley, myself, She-Hulk, and the tribe to serve you all. I must tell you, it is in your best interest to not wait before you establish these relationships, because folks, wealth managers will only accept a certain amount of clients, a handful of clients, and that is it. You have the golden opportunity to take the steps for free and make the difference for you and your family. Just click the link at the top of the description. You can join in the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room. We'll help you along the way. Now, today, Goldilocks has dropped some very powerful information regarding these tariffs that go into effect on April the 2nd. This will have an effect on currency values moving forward. Vietnam announced that they have adopting Starlink in preparation so that they aren't hit with these tariffs. We'll get into that in a little bit, but let's jump right into it. But Goldilocks is sharing that the transition to a new digital economy doesn't necessarily require a complete dismantling of the old financial system, but it does demand significant adaptation. So the old financial system, folks, what Goldilocks is saying, will not completely just, throw a bomb at it and blow it up. But it's really a transition into the new digital banking system away from the old. The old system is built on centralized banks. What are centralized banks? The Federal Reserve, the Central Bank of Iraq, the Central Bank of Vietnam, the Central Bank of all the banks that hold currencies. So the old system is based on those centralized banks, physical currency, and their infrastructure. But they can coexist with the new digital innovations like blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and decentralized finance. For example, what is XRP? Decentralized. What is going to be utilized to exchange our currencies? XRP, a decentralized mechanism in the new digital asset-based trading system. Historically, economic shifts, like from gold to fiat, didn't obliterate the prior banking system overnight. They layered the mechanisms on top of one another, phasing out inefficiencies. The same thing will happen with this transition from the old to the new banking system that we're now in transition into. A digital economy prioritizes speed, transparency, and accessibility, which clashes with the slow, non-transparent, old banking system. For example, cross-border payments via SWIFT can take days and incur high fees, while digital alternatives like stablecoins can settle near instantly. Transactions instantly at a fraction of the cost. This pressure forces the old banking system to either integrate, banks adopting to blockchain, or these banks risk of becoming outdated. These banks are transitioning into the new digital banking system because they don't want to be left behind. They want to benefit from the lower cost, faster speed transactions. When it comes to reciprocal tariffs, folks, as envisioned in the Fair Reciprocal Plan, it could significantly impact the infrastructure and trade finance, potentially reshaping global trade. Remember, Goldilocks has coined the phrase, watch the water. Why? Because our currencies are affected by trade on the water, where countries do trade of goods and services amongst each other. Where are tariffs? They're imposed on the water when countries do trade amongst each other. This is why you heard about the tariffs on Mexico and Canada that President Trump is imposing. And then more begin to take effect, including Mexico and Canada, on April the 2nd. They will affect currency exchange rates. Reciprocal tariffs could disrupt the $9.7 trillion trade finance. Trade, folks, around the world. It's almost $10 trillion in trade amongst countries. What is it that we await Iraq to enter into? The World Trade Organization. Now let's talk about Vietnam. Vietnam will cut its tariffs against several U.S. products beginning on April the 1st. Again, Vietnam will cut its tariffs, meaning, folks, tariffs are taxes. So it's like if you were to sell a product and you impose a tariff on the buyers of your product, that means all you're doing is you're putting a tax on that product. So when Vietnam is cutting tariffs on products with the United States, they're cutting the taxes. They're making it cheaper for the United States to do business with them. Why? Because it's a deal. Vietnam is cutting the tariffs on the United States so that the United States cut tariffs on them. So Vietnam cutting taxes on the United States products, it's to avoid being taxed so heavily by the United States and their products going into Vietnam. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Seeing also a way to offset tariffs is for a country to adjust their exchange rates of their currency. When Donald Trump in 2017 was asked the question about the devaluation of currencies, he said, "We will level the playing field." Folks, tariffs is a way to level the playing field with countries around the world and their currencies. Vietnam has announced that they are accepting Starlink, the Starlink payment system, which is designed to accommodate customers around the world of accepting payments in their own currencies where supported. Why is this so significant? The global reach of Starlink, which, of course, if you don't know, it is Starlink that is run by SpaceX. Starlink typically allows payments for its services, such as hardware purchases or monthly subscriptions, to be in the currency of that country where the services are activated. If that currency is supported in the activation of that in the activation country, that country's currencies is settled on the Starlink platform. On Saturday, on the Saturday Night Dialogues, we're going to go into more depth about this. But you will see how Vietnam is preparing themselves in the new digital economy in preparation for the tariffs. See, Vietnam doing this is just to prepare for the tariffs that Trump is imposing. The process with Starlink, it involves converting a country's currency also from into stablecoins to settle the transaction or the exchange of one currency to the other when countries do trade amongst each other. For example, Russia does trade with Vietnam, Vietnam with the US. They have to settle in their own currency. How else to do that? In a most safe and effective way? Through stablecoins. Now, they haven't announced that they will use the stablecoins, but this is how it's done in the new digital banking system. So with Vietnam announcing that they are accepting Starlink as a billing system and a payment system, that means that they will have to adjust to local currencies wherever possible that they do trade, and any foreign exchange considerations are handled through SpaceX. If you're in a supported region, you can typically pay in your local currency through credit cards or any other means, through SpaceX, through Starlink. It's all done as well digitally. But folks, Starlink is supported in 120 plus countries around the world, including now Vietnam. So imagine, as Vietnam does trade, cutting tariffs, adjusting their values on the dong with all these countries around the world. all the other countries are going to be doing the same thing in preparation for these tariffs that will be imposed on April the 2nd. SpaceX, which is the company behind Starlink, uses stablecoins to handle payments from Starlink customers, particularly in remote areas around the world. And this is to avoid foreign currency exchange risk and issues where access may be limited. Well, because of SpaceX, the connection to rural and remote areas, that issue goes away. Reciprocal tariffs, where countries impose matching tariffs on each other's goods, will indeed influence currency values. Folks, you're witnessing how it is that the new digital banking system and the new system that supports the revaluation of all currencies, you're witnessing how it's being developed. It's never been a flip of the switch. We know that that is what has been said for so long, and it sounded believable because so many other guru daddies were saying it. But in reality, let's get to reality. In reality, it is a process of transitioning from the old financial system into the new digital financial system that we see around the world. Many countries are adjusting and adapting to. And here we have Vietnam announcing that they are adopting and accepting Starlink, run by SpaceX, to connect Vietnam with other countries around the world as it relates to trade. SpaceX is just one of the, and Starlink is just one of the additional payment systems that Vietnam can use in converting the Vietnamese dong in different currencies. But we are truly witnessing an amazing thing. Literally, this goes into effect by Vietnam. And also, just think, Iraq and their connection to 66 countries of the transit international routing system is on April the 1st. What happens on April the 2nd? The reciprocal tariffs. No coincidence. We love you, folks.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.